Well, it's been over 10 years since I first got exposed to something called Ubuntu Linux, and it's been an interesting ride. So what do Windows users really think of Linux? And what do I think as a Windows user? Well, stick around. I'll give you my personal thoughts. I was looking over an article here that says, here's why free Linux won't take over PCs in 2017. And there are many articles about the so-called the year of the Linux desktop, which really never happened. You know, my first exposure to Linux was with Ubuntu back, I think it was in '06, summer of '06. I think it was called Dapper Drake. And I remember seeing something in a magazine, Science magazine or something. It said something like, are you tired of Windows XP? Try Ubuntu. And I thought, what's Ubuntu? Well, of course, we all know what Ubuntu is now. But back then, as a Windows user, I was using Windows XP, and Ubuntu in the world of Linux was totally new to me. So I started off with Ubuntu, and let's see, from there I went on to Linux Mint, Zorin OS, and countless other Linux distributions I've tried. I must have had over 100 CDs, bootable CDs that I created. And of course then switched over to bootable or USB sticks, bootable USB sticks. And I've come back to Linux Mint, Ubuntu Mate. Of course I do like Ubuntu Unity, even though officially from Ubuntu, Unity will be no more after this edition going to the GNOME desktop. But you know, to me Linux has been much more than an operating system. It's been a journey of a quest for knowledge, you know, trying out something cool, a different desktop environment, thousands of free software to try in Linux, of free applications, meeting a lot of people here on the channel, a lot of friends. I suppose in many ways, you know, Linux and the people behind Linux, or the people who use Linux and Windows, dual booters as we are called, I suppose this has become more of a you know, a second or third family for me, and maybe for some others, I don't know. So in the end, Linux for me has been a lot of fun. It's been quite enjoyable, and I enjoy dual booting. When something doesn't work in Windows, I'll switch to Linux, and vice versa. So for me, I enjoy using Linux and meeting all the people. Of course, now I've been doing a few more live events. I guess it was time to move on for me as a Linux user. You know, doing distro reviews and, you know, news and nonsense reports, although quite enjoyable. I think it's more fun doing stuff live, even if it's just a chat, because it's really all about connecting with you guys, connecting with humanity. Hence the meaning of Ubuntu, humanity towards others. So as far as what this Windows user thinks of Linux, at least Linux on a desktop, it's been a lot of fun. But what do Windows users in general think about Linux? Well, a lot of them probably don't know that Linux is everywhere. GPS, tablets, your cars, smartwatches, I guess refrigerators, and the list goes on and on. So they probably don't think of Linux in that regard. For Windows users who tried different versions of a Linux desktop, what did they think after 7+ years on this channel? I've come to the conclusion that if a Windows user tries a Linux distro that works, it's great. If it doesn't work, then they almost all say that Linux sucks. Can I blame them? Probably not. But at least they tried a version of a Linux desktop to see if it works for them. And you know, for those users, you know, I have some comments that say, you know, why mess with all this, not knowing if it's going to work or not? Just use Linux and go get a cup of coffee, or just use Windows rather and go get a cup of coffee, or just use Mac, sit back and relax. Well, I don't have a Mac, nothing against Mac. I use different versions of Linux, and I have Windows 10, and I enjoy drinking coffee to both operating systems because I enjoy using both. So as far as my thoughts of Linux after 10 years and 7 years on the channel, I think it's been a lot of fun, and it's more than just a technology. It's all about the people behind Linux and meeting people like yourselves, connecting with people like yourselves, and gaining knowledge. And as far as what other Windows users think of Linux, well, I suppose it's up to them what they really think of a Linux desktop. But I'm sure for them, for some it's been quite enjoyable, for some it's been a nightmare. I guess it's been a random hit and miss when it comes to a Linux desktop, where overall after 10 years of using Linux it's getting better, and better, more and more polished. And for some users, it's clear that the Linux desktop has been a complete replacement for Windows or whatever they were using. And that's great. It's awesome to have a choice in life that actually works out to your benefit. Those are my thoughts as a Windows dual booter, Windows Linux dual booter, this year, this time in history. So thanks to all of you, meeting a lot of friends, and thanks for all of your advice and help in getting me to this stage as a dual booter. I'll catch you guys next time.